What is going on, beautiful people? First live up in here. What I know about live? Absolutely nothing. So I wanted to do this real quick before I head into work, man. So today's topic for the first live ever is, if necessary, are Americans willing to still fight for our country? I think we are. I think Americans still got that dog in them. I'm gonna be honest with you. They like to make fun of us about because like we're younger and like we've gotten a lot more coddled because technology made stuff easier, and there's stuff that that they had to do in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, even the 1990s they had to do that we'll never have to do. Like, we'll never have to have a home phone and have, one person hang up just so it could be used. Like, three-way was like the biggest thing ever back then. Like, technology just made it so much easier for our lives in general. But, I don't think that that's caused us to not be able to fight for our country or to stand up for what's right if needed. I know, with the LGBT stuff, people like to make fun of them or whatever because of the gender pronouns, and they're like, oh, and it's all based around their feelings, and we've gotten like a real feel-based society going on right now, which is great, right? I understand. I'm not against it. But don't get it twisted. I think those same people that are in front of these meetings that are upset and that are going live about, being misgendered, those same people will hop up in a helicopter with a gun and defend their country. I think the same people that are freaking out over their gender mispronunciations and they also wanting to, be called a dog or cat, or, some people really in their spare time view themselves as animals. Whatever you got going on, just because you got your own little personal interests, that don't mean that they also won't go up and fight for their country if needed. Life has gotten a little bit easier, in my opinion. Life has definitely gotten a little bit easier, but I think if needed, we would still fight for what we love, man. And especially, America's surrounded by water. Like, could you imagine if there were just like a whole bunch of other countries surrounding us that weren't Canada and Mexico? We get invaded like way, way more often. Like, it is really difficult to get to us because you have to either send a naval ship or send a missile, and we're just knocking that out the sky. I mean, we can't knock a Chinese balloon out the sky, but hopefully we're a little bit better with rockets. I think they let that balloon slide. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think they sat there and they watched that balloon to study it and to see what it was and to examine it and to gather information before shooting it down. That was a real calculated move, because there's no way in hell that they didn't see that balloon like from the jump. I think they just let it float just to see what was going to happen and to get more information to see where it came from. But I feel like if it was the real deal, we would have knocked that missile down. America in general, I feel like is it's still a top dog country as far as wars are concerned. I mean, the Iraq War obviously did not go too well. Like, as far as us fighting, we're willing to fight and put our life on the line. But as far as winning and what comes after that, that's a different story. But I think as far as fighting goes, I think we're still willing to fight for our country. Like, for real. And I don't think we're that soft. I mean, I think technology, the same people that had to chop wood in the 60s and 70s are the same people that struggle with operating an electric heater. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't have their TV input on the right channel. So there's stuff they struggle with too, because technology is advanced. We have different problems. The problems are just different. That's all. The problems are just a little bit different. We're fighting with drones now instead of like sending a whole bunch of meat shields to go storm a beach. It's just a little bit different. There ain't nothing wrong. There ain't nothing wrong with things changing and things evolving, and just because it's a lot less physical contact doesn't mean it's not as effective. And that's what we're good at, as far as like our younger generation. Like, we're good at being together and getting the job done without being physically present. Like, even YouTube, like, you can form a whole community about a common interest, and and you can still communicate and be together and still have a real close bond compared to, like, 20 years ago you used to have to write letters, and take trains and buses, and the plane. Yeah, sure, you could take an airplane, but it wasn't as easy. Everything's, it's a bigger deal to catch an airplane, because you could just get your tickets online. Back then you had to hold on to your ticket, and if you lost your ticket, it was over. you know but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment below, man. I wanted to test out this live feature. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to see what this was like, because I was like, oh, let me see if this works. But yeah, man, I think we're still willing to fight for our country. I don't think we're soft. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't get the gender wars. Us fighting over what we want to be called and the racial stuff. Don't get it twisted. I think everyone will put their differences aside, whether it's race, gender, if you like pineapples on your pizza. I feel like we'll stop bickering with each other for like a couple years to go kick some ass American style. I think we're still capable of doing that. The country's messed up, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not that messed up as people like to make it seem, but I feel like as far as our mentality goes, it just needs a little work. Americans still got that dog in them, though. In my opinion, we still got that dog in them. We ain't got that dog in them the way Russians got, but because Russians are a different type of level, dude. I seen, like, there's a Russian part of the country called Dagestan, I think it's called. I'm probably mispronouncing it. But like in the UFC, there are all these UFC fighters from Russia just running up the titles. And people are like, where did these dudes come from? They all came from Russia. And that's all they do is they sit from a very young age, all they do is train. Like, you have siblings, and Russian children will just be fighting each other for fun. Just freaking spin kicks, heel kicks, grappling, body slamming each other, tombstoning each other on the grass. Like, that's normal. They got bears and crap. They're out there freaking chasing after wildlife. Like, when the last time you, like, crept up on a bear? They'll be creeping up on bears and stalking bears. Who stalks a bear? Like, there's no, like, they over there stalking bears in Russia. But yeah, anyway, so all these dudes, they did some documentaries about a couple of the UFC fighters. One of them happened to be Khabib, and he's like he's an undefeated fighter in the UFC. He retired, but like, they did a documentary on the country he was from, and he was really explaining like what it was like growing up in his mixed martial arts school, and what it was like, the schools he went to. Like, you'll be wrestling, like, a good portion of your day in high school will be wrestling. Like, that's normal. Like, it won't be like, oh yeah, I got gym, I got calc. It'll be like, nah, bro, like, we're grappling from like 8 to 10, jiu-jitsu from like 10 to 1, and then we're going to focus on our striking for another 3 hours and do some conditioning training. Like, these Russians are just built different, and their lifestyles are different as well. But yeah, I think, we might have a tender side to us for us being Americans. We might have a lot of compassion, and like, our society is Karens, like, people like to make fun of Karens in America. Karen will and for the name of Starbucks, Karen will put her poodle down and go hop in the chopper, and you can send her wherever. Those be the most patriotic ones, to be honest with you. We're all American because it all depends, Shoot, it don't matter. Hood ninjas will put the blunt down, the lean, the 40. They'll hop in, they'll have an M16. They might not know how to shoot. They might not know how to shoot it, but they'll go hop in the helicopter and they'll go fight a war. I feel like the average person, because we like to make fun of people on all spectrums, the average American still got that dog in them. If we all come together, we are still willing in modern day to come together to protect American values. And what those American values are, whatever the hell you want them to be, it's America. We like to fight. We like to fight about like what true American values are. And there's like liberalism. There's, there's being a conservative. There's all these different type of pools and lifestyles and cultural beliefs, which is cool. But all of it is kind of a part of America. It's sad to say, you might not like it. But and we might not like each other, to be honest with you. We really might. Some of us really don't like each other. Some groups and some groups and communities hate each other so much to the point to where it's like toxic, you know. And I'm not saying that you have to support another group, you know, to be clear, but you shouldn't tear anyone down. You know, tearing anyone down should never be applauded, and it should never be, you know, it should never be, what do you call it? Encouraged. You know, it shouldn't be the norm whatsoever. It still happens, but, you know, we leave each other alone pretty much. If you don't want to support, leave the other group, or, you know, freaking gender or whatever you don't like, leave the other group alone. Let them live their life, you know. Like, I know everybody's always likes to beat up on the LGBT community. I'm a straight black man too. I'm just comfortable with my sexuality, and I just see something for what it is. Everyone likes to talk about it and beat up on them as a community. And me personally, like, I get it, right? But me personally, I don't call it being like pro LGBT. Like, somebody be like, oh, you pro LGBT? You know, I'm like, hey man, I'm pro do you. I ain't pro LGBTQ. I'm pro do you. You know, and it might not be my cup of soup. My cup of soup might not be my can of worms or my up my alley. But, you know, somebody's trying to go do that. Go ahead. Hey, you know, do what makes you happy. Do you. You know, I'm pro do you. And I think we should still keep we should still keep and maintain our ability to come together to protect our country, to protect our values, protect our school system, you know, the whole 9 yards. I still think we can come together if needed. But I know NATO has been formed, so we really don't have to worry about like real wars. But if a new world war were to occur, I think we'd still be able to hold our own. I don't think we would fold like everybody thinks. Everybody thinks we would just like run away or hide, or like if we had to have a draft, we'd have an issue. Hey, I'm down to lay it down for my country. And my son here? Oh yeah, sign me up. Put me in the Humvee. What we doing? You know, my whole family up in here. I'll die for mine. Now, I'm sure a lot of other people will die for their family, their friends, their dog at home. There are a lot not to be, you know, there are a lot of you know, lighter individuals in this country, specifically women, you know, that love their dogs, that will go to war right now if that means their freaking Shih Tzu is safe. You know what I'm saying? Her husky can still get her pup cup, you know. Shoot, white women love them dogs, like, for real. I'm just saying how it is. I ain't being racist or nothing, but, you know, white women love them dogs. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Americans are still willing to fight for their country if needed? Do we still have that dog in us? I think we do. You know, this is my first live, by the way, so this live's probably trash. I'm comfortable doing them now. Like, now I'm like comfy. So it's a shame I gotta go and start work, but I'm gonna try to test this out a little while. Something I'm starting new on the channel. I ain't never went live before, so this is pretty tight. But yeah, man, I hope you guys have a great day. This channel's all about like maintaining and improving your quality of life, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional. I'm an American, you know, specifically in Pittsburgh. So, you know, here in America, people like to say, you know, people like to call Americans soft, or the younger Americans, you know, because all the old boomers, you know, all the boomers that were chopping wood, you know, for their wood burner to be warm, all those guys are dying out, you know. All the guys that didn't have power steering are starting to fade. You know, hands are getting a lot softer as the generations, you know, continue. But I still think that just because that's the case, it doesn't mean that you know, they can't get the job done if needed. But hope you guys have a great day. My first live. Y'all take it easy. I'm out. Peace.